All right, guys, so we got probably our most heated game of the playoffs so far, definitely the most heated on the internet. And yeah, that was about as bad of a game, too, as you could ask for the Warriors. No, I don't think they're doomed for the series. We will see with Jimmy's MRI after tomorrow. But from some quick Googling with pelvic contusions, and that fall looked really, really painful, and we'll talk about that play in a second, but a quick Google search has a pelvic contusion at a mild case of maybe within a week or two. More severe ones can be much longer than that. And I guess regardless, there's going to be some amount of just pain tolerance. I don't know, man, okay? We'll see. As far as the play itself, look, I know tensions are very high, and I understand that when something like that happens in the playoffs, some people are out for blood and you just want to blame somebody no matter what. To me, this was just Amen, Draymond, Steven Adams, and Pods all getting tangled up in the paint. Amen gets knocked a couple of times. He stumbles, and unfortunately, Jimmy was right there in the air. Now, yes, he did come down after taking the shot. He was going to go for the offensive rebound. That was pretty obvious. I'm not going to try to get into a fight about this one. Trust me, I've seen people say very mean things to each other over this already in like the hour since it happened on Twitter. I'm not trying to do that. I just think it was a really unfortunate series of guys crashing into each other. Besides that, yeah, there's fouls all over the place, both sides. Steph is definitely deserving of more calls. It feels like all of that is probably going to be the most talked about things of this for the next couple of days, but I'm going to attempt to talk about the basketball a bit. And I will talk about some things with the Warriors offense once Jimmy was out of the game. And also Pods was mostly out of this one, but you got to start with Jalen Green. Okay, the Jalen Green roller coaster, man. Game 1 it was down, Game 2 it's up. And as far as the tough shots go, I felt like they were pretty normal Jalen Green shots, 3 over Looney switch, that type of stuff. It did seem like he was more composed coming around screens. Like I remember he had a really good crossover on Quentin Post when Post was high up on him on one action. They got Şengün in the middle of the floor versus a zone, which opened up a 3 for Jalen Green. Good stuff. I mean, I get it. I've said it myself when it comes to what to expect out of Jalen Green in these playoff games, but that wasn't just a bounce-back game. That was a whatever is more than a bounce-back game type of game. I don't know. And then after that, honestly, Tari Eason getting a couple of threes as well as getting free for some like backdoor cut stuff when it felt like he couldn't get as much of those in the first game. That was the next thing I noticed with the Rockets offense, which is probably the wrong answer, but I don't know, that's where my mind went to. Also, Tari, what are you throwing the towel for at the end there, man? Like you were just in the middle of the thing, and then you waited until you were at the edge of the thing, and then you threw the towel at Pat Spencer? Like, come on. Speaking of Pat Spencer, that second quarter stretch where he actually was getting buckets was kind of wild, as we're like, oh, so Pods has got food poisoning, Jimmy's out, Moody didn't really come back until the second half where he did still play some minutes. This is the lineup, I guess, where we did finally see Kuminga after some missed games. So for me with this one, what I started to think about was, okay, so if Jimmy is unable to play, like, let's say the next game, okay, don't know, we'll find out, maybe by the time you actually watch this video, if you see it the next day, I don't know, but I was looking for signs of other things on offense. There were some things. There was like, Steph Draymond run a screen action or a handoff action with Quentin Post spaced out on the other side of the floor because they anticipate that Şengün's going to go high up on the Steph screen. Quentin Post gets an open corner 3. Okay. Looney also got a basket from them putting 2 on Steph on the ball. But he kind of slipped the screen beforehand because the one time before that when they tried to do that, I think it was Adams, and I want to say it was Tari. They forced a turnover out of Steph. So it's little things here and there. They also do need Moody to just be aggressive when he has a window for a shot. And then they also tried Kuminga, and the play I'm remembering the most in this game from Kuminga was they gave him a simple screen action with Steven Adams dropping back on the screen, and it's like, all right, man, here you go. Here's the opportunity you're waiting for. And he whiffed the layup pretty bad. And I'm just saying, like, if the worst case scenario, if Jimmy ends up missing games from this series because of that, and you are relying on Kuminga to make those types of drives, I don't know what's going to happen, man. He did go 2 for 5 from 3, so that's nice. And that's kind of what I'm thinking now. Like, again, by the time you see this video, depending on when you see it, Jimmy might be good to go for the next game. Okay, fine. But if something's going to be different here for them, and then, of course, Steph going nuclear would also be nice, as he did in Game 1. But yeah, like, we all get it. Jimmy gives them way more scoring, shot creation. If they don't have that, going to be tough to score. Maybe they can just put the game in so much of a dogfight that they can still grind it out if he does end up missing a game. I don't know. We'll see. Because while I do mention that one zone play where Jalen did get a 3 against it, like, there were still some plays when the Warriors zone where the Rockets were a bit hesitant. Anyway, that's about all I got there. If we go to this Cavs Heat game where I had to flip over with like 6 minutes left, I'm like, what is going on here? Davion Mitchell's going crazy. There were a couple of switches by Miami that were slowing down the Cavs offense for a little bit. This is just from what I saw midway fourth quarter. I was not watching before this. I had Celtics Magic on. And I did think there was a little bit of like Davion putting Garland in the action, and then Jared Allen's over helping, and so Bam gets open for something, or Hero trying to put Garland in the action. But none of that mattered because Donovan Mitchell just made every shot he took in the fourth quarter, basically, which is what he did against the Celtics in at least one fourth quarter. And every Cavs thing I see is just thinking about a Celtics series. And he had a lot of success versus them this season, so okay. And then as far as the Celtics, where Tatum, he didn't play, shooting hand, wrist, we'll see there. Jalen just looked more springy and athletic. He was able to get downhill more on very simple plays on some of these where it's just Franz or Paolo or Wendell or Goga or whatever, which is what I was hoping to see. Just Jalen, downhill athleticism, all that nice stuff. A couple plays here and there where I felt like the Celtics could have got more stuff happening on offense, but whatever, you can't be perfect. I love Derek White. I think a Derek White pull-up three, when he has just an ounce of daylight, might be my favorite shot in the NBA. Hopefully KP's all good. That was a lot of blood. Anyway, that's kind of all I got. A couple minutes shorter on this one today. I think it's all good, right?